Welcome to the Awake Space Astrology Podcast. I'm Laurie Rivers with you, here to help you with some inspiration to get those aspirations out into the world. Oh my goodness, I told you last week was going to be crunchy, and it delivered with sprinkles on top, didn't it? I know it is a scary time for many people. And I know I've upset some people with things that I've said. And let me make it very clear. As a member of the diaspora, I am against genocide in any form. Any form. Okay? I cannot make excuses for genocide, and I will not. So get it out of the way. If you don't like it, you don't have to follow me. But what I will say is the thing I do care about as a humanitarian is that we don't other each other. And for those of you who are new to this situation or information about it, I don't know how, but America keeps people in a news bubble. Here's why it's complicated. We don't want a wave of anti-Semitism, but there has been a lack of restraint when it comes to Islamophobia. It's like, don't be anti-Semitic, and don't be mean to Muslim people. And we saw the results of that today in the killing of a 6-year-old boy. Now, pardon me being a Cancerian, but are you shitting me? Stabbed to death? You know that is a direct relation to the headline that I had an issue with. Never once was I denying that children had died, which is wrong. Which is wrong. Killing civilians is always wrong. It is an act of terror. Whoever does it, it is an act of terror. It is against international law. Period. But using the word beheaded conjures the image of bloodthirsty savages with scimitars, which is a big sword. Because that is the image we have created about Muslims and Arabs specifically for decades. And I have a problem with that. One, it impacts me very personally because my children are part Arab. And I am of the Jewish diaspora. I know, we're world peace. Go figure. Okay. That is why I took offense to the use of that language. It was not a denial that children had been slain. It was the language, because language matters, because people are either ignorant, stupid, uninformed, or downright evil sometimes. And I know I don't like duality, but some people are just freaking looking to do harm to others. And we saw that on Sunday. And there's a mother in a hospital mourning her son. So if you wondered why I was angry about the language, we have seen a direct result 7 days since the headline hit. So we're going to talk a little bit about messaging here. Choose our words carefully. Anti-Semitism is wrong. Islamophobia is wrong. Genocide is wrong. Wrong. Okay? It's not, those people, you know how they are, right? When we say stuff like that, that's dangerous. Those people, othering. Okay? We know better. Do better. Okay? And I'm not saying any of you are doing that. But it's a very slippery slope, and it's one I want to avoid. As a humanitarian who cares deeply I freaking had a meltdown finally just because when Iran issued its missive to the UN to give to Israel, that was a declaration of, if you do this, we do this. Don't let people fool you that, oh, Iran can handle a fight. It is allied with Russia and China. Okay? And we're spreading our resources thin right now. And we can't seem to get people to join our military, so we're a little short-staffed. That's why they pulled up the reservists to put them into the NATO bases. Am I scaring you? I hope not. But that scared me. And as a Middle East specialist, as a political analyst, I was like, oh, no, that's not it. And there's probably an 80% likelihood this now expands into a regional conflict. And if you have family anywhere in that region, do be ready to take them in if you can, or help them with resources. Okay? And blame the damn governments, not the people. And by the way, Palestine is not a country. It is an occupied territory. They may have elected representatives, but they don't have an official real government because they're not officially a country. They never got to be one. They're kind of a no man's land. Okay. International law. I don't care what opinions are. International law. All right? You can look it up. Encyclopedia. Look it up. You remember that song? Yeah. All right. So, Mars is in Scorpio, folks. And it is gonna be fugly. Fugly. This episode, I talk about what's going through the month. And it gets expansive because Mars will oppose Jupiter. It's just started opposing Jupiter. Jupiter is retrograde. That might help us. It might not help us. I'm still deciding. I think it's the one thing that keeps us out of my very worst case scenario at this point is I think we only have a 10% chance of some wackadoodle taking on a holy site for Muslims in Israel, which is not in Gaza. Those are in Jerusalem. But if some right-winger extremist, and everybody's got them, every single country's got them, we all have our right-wingers. If somebody goes after that, all bets are off. I think we've got a 10% chance of that with Jupiter retrograde. So fingers crossed. It doesn't go direct till December, so we're in good stead. But likewise, all bets are off when it comes to diplomatic solutions. Talk about that too. Now, the good news is November 8th, Saturn stations direct. That should help put the brakes on some of this energy. I'm hoping. I'll keep you updated. So, I know, your big question, is it World War III? I talk about that too, okay? It will not be global thermonuclear war. All right, so I talk about that. We do patron shout-outs. Talk about Mars and Scorpio expanding the intensity through the month and what that kind of means on a world stage. And then my daughter's going to join me and educate me about the social niceties of talking to people online because my social skills are lacking. So I'm going to get some etiquette lessons. I think you guys will find that pretty funny. And then I'll tell you what I think Mars and Scorpio is going to do for you personally and how you can use that energy. And of course, as always, I save the best for my patrons and their special episodes. So episode 44, part 2, will have the Mars in Scorpio through the houses for patrons only. Yeah, $5 and up is going to get you that. All right. I know it's been tough. I know it's hard. If you have family in any side, whether you are Palestinian or you have family in Israel, my heart goes out to you, and may your families be safe. I just pray for that, and it is heartbreaking to see what's going on in Gaza, or we're not really seeing what's going on in Gaza. And I'm not going to lie, I am against genocide in all forms, and my heart is with the people of Gaza. May they be protected. All right, let's get on with the podcast. So I had a little meltdown on my crunch report last night because, well, I had a big meltdown earlier in the day, and it's because, one, I do have more specialized knowledge on how things work in the Middle East as a Middle East specialist. And so I know the most likely outcomes. I don't know that diplomacy is going to stop this from spilling out. I just don't know that. It's a very serious time on the planet. I get asked a lot, is this World War III? It's not global thermal nuclear war, if that's what you're worried about. If you're a Gen Xer, that's your first thought. Telling you younger people, it is potentially the beginning of a much larger global conflict, which began with Ukraine. I explained this in a video on TikTok, that this divides NATO's attention in some pretty serious ways if Iran does get involved. Their message to Israel was sent through the United Nations, which makes it a very official statement. And I don't think they're saber rattling this time. I don't. I told you, we're in massive systemic change. Welcome to Pluto and Capricorn. And that new moon was square Pluto. And that was, well, I was hoping it was going to be weather. I was hoping it was going to be a lot of things. I don't like to look at bad news any more than you guys do. I don't. Unfortunately, I'm very good at analyzing things, and I've held back a lot over the last couple of years. I've held back, and I've given you measured advice, and when it comes to roost at home, like I said, the minute my daughter, for posting a Doctors Without Borders post, Doctors Without Borders is a great organization, and I'm going to be looking into how we can do some fundraising for them. They work in many different countries, 70 countries. They are a non-political medical organization. They go into very hard-hit areas to provide medical assistance only. Okay? They are there to work with the sick and the wounded. That is it. I like them because their money goes in better places than the Red Cross. So, and when I lived in the Ivory Coast, they lived in the same complex I lived in. So even though I said it's complicated because we don't want a wave of anti-Semitism also, if you happen to also be in the diaspora, if you are also Jewish, you do need to be cautious and careful. You're not crazy for being afraid at all. And this is no more the fault of Jewish people than it is the fault of all Palestinian people. So keep your eye on the prize here, folks. Let's not walk down that road. It's a slippery slope. And people have a right to be afraid for their families, for God's sake. We're all human. We're all human. And we all are concerned about our security and our safety. And with Mars in Scorpio, things are going to be really intense. Now, if you have a natal Mars in Scorpio, you are not being maligned, okay? You're not. I'm talking about mundane astrology. I'm talking about political events. I'm talking about weather. And we will see some interesting weather. And we will see conflict. Like, it's really ugly. You know, we're going to hear about some really horrendous things. You know, and turning off the water, turning off the electricity, turning off the food, that would be a hallmark of fighting, quote unquote, dirty. But we'll also hear about torture. We'll hear some really bad stuff. And I'm sure some Palestinian people will do some bad things too if they haven't already, right? There was aggression. There was there. But that doesn't take away from the fact it's a genocide. Okay, collective punishment is illegal under international law. Right? I mean, would you want somebody pissed off at America to collectively punish your small town in, I don't know, Missouri? You know? You'd be like, what did we do? We didn't do anything. Same dealio. They'll say, well, one person posted on the internet, so we're going to punish all of you. That's what that is. And that's not okay. That's not okay. It's not okay. And imagine if you couldn't leave your town, if you couldn't enter or exit, you were separated from your family. Okay. That's what we're saying is wrong. Right there. That's what we're saying is wrong. No one is condoning violent and aggressive acts and the killing of civilians by anybody. But I honestly don't think we have to what about it. You know, and say, well, this was wrong, but this, you know. I think we can all acknowledge that was wrong. And genocide is never acceptable. I'm going to stand on that because I am enough of a mutt that I've had multiple sides of my family persecuted for various reasons. And I just kind of think it's wrong to persecute people. So, there we go. Pardon my humanitarianism. And it doesn't make you a better person, by the way. It just makes you a human to say, you know what? That's wrong. Let's not do that. So, Mars and Scorpio. It's going to get uglier. It's going to get uglier. And I put some dates up on a TikTok that you need to watch to see. But let me take a look here. I'm looking. You can listen to the crickets. Crickets and the frogs. I miss the frogs. So definitely October 28th is a big one. Tomorrow, I'm a little concerned on Monday the 16th if we're going to get news out, but we will have the moon at let's see. Tomorrow's just kind of nasty at the start and the end. We've got a bit going on. It may have even started now, but let me take a look here. Yeah, so late tonight into tomorrow morning, the moon is opposing Jupiter. Mars isn't, well, is it? It is. Mars is starting to oppose Jupiter now. On a personal level, that can be good. But on an international level with conflict going on, this is going to expand conflict. Diplomacy isn't going to work right now. There's no diplomacy that is going to work right now. I repeat, there is no diplomacy that's going to work. Now, this is probably tomorrow night around 8:30 p.m. Pacific which would make it daytime over there. We may hear that a country or countries or the people of some countries, so even if some governments don't get involved, they may have a hard time stopping their population from getting involved. And that happened during the Balkans in the 90s, that individual citizens went to support people in I believe it was Bosnia. And you're not going to be able to stop some of these people. If governments get involved, this really blows up. And I want to remind you, we destabilized the region. I talked about that a little bit last week. I know I've made some people unhappy, but there are ways to keep stability politically and regionally that from an armchair and the safety of the United States may not sound great, but every culture works different. Every group of people works different. And when we destabilized Syria, we pulled the stability plug out of the bathtub of the Middle East. We absolutely did. Because they were holding the balance. And my concern is a hothead. I don't think it would be an official government thing, but if there is a hothead that touches one of the holy sites in Israel, all bets are off. Now, that's a worst case scenario, and I put it at a 10% chance of happening, and it's one I'm really hoping doesn't happen, because that just blows this whole thing up. And with Mars in opposition to Jupiter, that's a potential. So it's a 10% chance, but it's still, it's potentially there. I'm like, please don't do that. Please, whoever saw it, don't do it, because no, just don't. It's really easy to get into picking sides right now. And I'm just going to ask you to see the humanity in everyday people and understand that the people of Israel are not happy with their government and have not been happy with their government for quite a while. Netanyahu is not preferred over there. So I was really shocked when they got him back. What about Biden? God, Biden really fucked this one bad. No, I do not see that Trump will be president. Don't worry about that. Trump will not be president. I hold by that. I hold by it. He will not be. And in fact, because of this situation, if Iran gets involved, the fact that he shared our classified documents puts him really close into treason territory, which I've been seeing in his transit. So I'm like, oh, this is how that's going to happen. Okay. So, but this makes it difficult for Biden. They may actually choose another candidate to run. I mean, they might run him. But like I've said, it appears that the party in power wins. I don't necessarily see a particular candidate, though. It's been kind of interesting. That's why I haven't said for sure, oh, this is who's going to win. You know? So, I don't know. Next year is kind of crazy, and it's kind of anybody's guess. There's a lot of wild card energy in 2024. So, you know, and we'll talk about that in November during the 2024 Year Ahead seminar. So, we'll see. So, October 16th, October 17th, those are wild days, both here and abroad. Now, I know I have listeners all over the world. And I have Israeli listeners. I hope still. I hope you're safe. Again, to me, it is different. A government is separate from its people. And so I hope you're safe. I hope your families are safe. I hope you're peaceful. I hope you're okay. I know I have Palestinian listeners all over the world. My heart is with you. Keep your families safe. Keep your families safe. Keep your families safe. I know what it's like to have to shield your child from the hate of the world. And I know the heartbreak when it doesn't work. So, and thank God my child lived. Not every parent gets that lucky. Just think about that. Before you other someone, think about the children, because the children have parents. They're not monoliths. They have mothers and fathers. Fathers don't deserve to die either. Not every man is complicit in aggression. Children need both. Okay. All right. Mars continues to move forward into an opposition with Jupiter. It's just starting to be in opposition now. It's a wide approach, but it's there. It will be directly opposite. I think. Let me look. Oh, there's the donkey. It just burped. Maybe the donkey. I know you guys missed the donkey. Those of you who've been with me this whole time. For those of you who are new, you're like, what the hell is she talking about a donkey for? Things really intensify around October 25th. And I really think around the 22nd and the 23rd, we're going to hear about a lot more about the atrocities that are going on. Because we're not getting a lot of news out there because journalists were targeted and killed, which is a war crime also. Where they've kicked Al Jazeera out, as far as I know, or pulled their license. So October, as we head towards Halloween, oddly enough, we'll have, so as we move through the 25th and 26th with Jupiter retrograde, we've got Mars involved. The only thing I think that keeps this from blowing all the way up into my worst case scenarios is Jupiter's retrograde. I'm hoping that stops this from escalating to where it can go. I'm hoping, but I don't think diplomacy is going to work. So we'll see. And don't think the people in the region don't know. They know better than anybody else where this can go. They know exactly where this can go. And so it's one of the reasons why some of the bigger powers haven't involved themselves directly, because they know where it can go. And they're like going to be trying for everything they can. But when you're looking at the wholesale slaughter, and it has been, okay, you can admit that innocent civilians, and I don't care, okay, take innocent out, civilians who are not armed, children, the elderly, the sick. By the way, we have several hundred Americans in Palestine, in Gaza, who are stuck. They did what their government told them, but you can't get to Egypt from Rafah right now because the exit was bombed. The exit was bombed. I don't know about you, but that's not cool. I'm not going to lie. That's some Mars and Scorpio shit. Right there. If you got Mars and Scorpio, you know it. You may not like to fight, but when you do, you play for the long game and you're super strategic. Right? Don't piss off somebody with Mars and Scorpio. All right. So, and as Venus is approaching its opposition, because it'll be in opposition with Neptune, we're really seeing where international law doesn't mean much. It's one of the reasons I went into the private sector instead of working for governments, because I saw that. I saw, wait a minute, law is only as good as its enforcement. And you're not going to enforce anything against the United States. It's not going to happen. So stuff is going to escalate. I would put money away. We're going to see some economic upheaval. We're going to see some real nasty rhetoric. And then we've got the full moon, and the full moon on the 28th. Man, I think that releases a shitload of energy. It's really fascinating. It's in the daytime. I think it's at 11:35 a.m. Pacific. Let me look for sure. No, it is not. It is going to be... I know. You know what? I should look at my handy dandy sheet Jennifer made me. But am I... Oops, no, I'm not. The night before the full moon, the moon is conjunct, by the way. The night before the Taurus full moon, or the early hours of the morning of the 28th, or the late night of the 27th, the moon will be conjunct the south node, squaring off with Pluto about midnight and some change. The moon will be at 27 degrees, squaring off with Pluto, and we will pretty much continue to until it hits Taurus, where it will be sextiled Saturn and Pisces. Don't worry, I'll explain what it means here in a minute. Later in the day, we'll have the full moon, and that's just going to release kind of all hell. I had this chart just the other night, but I was looking back at 79 AD, trying to take a look at Vesuvius, because we've got the caldera happening in southern Italy and Naples too, and it has a very high likelihood of going off. So the full moon will happen at around 2 p.m. Pacific, and it's at 5 degrees of Taurus. It's very intense. We'll have Mercury and Mars conjunct. This will probably be some devastating bombing. With Mars directly opposed and Mercury directly opposed Jupiter from the 3rd and 9th house. Man, this is going to be international stuff. This is where things can blow up internationally. This could be very... sorry, just looking for some water here. This could be really devastating. So the end of the month could be where things just really blow up. It could also be because there's something really bad that there's just an expansion of global conflict. Because remember, we're distracting NATO here. Israel is a NATO member. If Israel is attacked by Iran or any other country in the region, and NATO is bound to, it is bound by its agreements, including the United States. And then that separates their attention on Europe. And that does nobody any favors except Putin. So, gee, I wonder who the Trumpster was sharing information with. Oh, that's going to get interesting, too. Oh, my God, folks. It is a shit show. And then people, it's so funny because people are like, you're fear-mongering. Really? Was I fear-mongering? Or was I downplaying shit? I think I was downplaying it. By the way, if you were worried, guess what? I'm feeling better. I told you, it doesn't take much to fill my cup. I hugged my granddogs. I cuddled a ducky. I had lunch with my daughter. It was good. Spending the night. Gonna head back in the morning. Everything is okay in the world. We're feeling good. Okay, we're feeling good. All right? All right. I know you're tired, guys, but we're going to have to use our endurance, all of us, because we have the luxury to be tired. And when you have the luxury of being tired, you have an obligation to speak up for humanity. And that means you speak against anti-Semitism, you speak against Islamophobia. Because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do. We don't let any of it fly. But also, be careful of falling for the narratives of, if you speak against the Israeli government, you're anti-Semitic. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. You can speak against the government there and be anti-government. Okay. Because it is wrong to have laws for citizens that are separate. And there are separate behaviors in Israel. Ask the Ethiopian Jewish people. Ask the indigenous Arabic Jewish population who are truly indigenous. Okay? Truly indigenous. They have different rules and get treated differently. It is not anti-Semitic to point out where rules are unfair. There are lots of people who are people, and there are governments who are authoritarian. Okay? Period. And we're watching that. I told you guys it was going to get worse before it got better. And guess what? Here we are. So throughout October, things intensify, and it really, the cauldron absolutely spills over on that full moon. And it's going to be really ugly. Really ugly. And I would be very, very surprised looking at that chart if it does not become a truly international situation at this point. So to answer the question, is this going to be World War III? It will not be global thermonuclear war, but we will definitely see the United States and its allies involved in multiple conflicts simultaneously, which is the criteria for a world war. It could happen. This is not something to fear. It just is something that may be. Okay. All right. In the States, we tend to be pretty well taken care of by our geography. Okay. It doesn't mean there might not be an incident here on one of the coasts. But, in the bigger cities. But if you live in Hoboken, you may have to worry. You're on a coast. Peoria, there we go. I was looking for somewhere in the Midwest. Hoboken's in New Jersey, but Peoria, probably fine. But we will see a wave of white supremacist behavior, which they'll go after anybody. And that's why language is important. Language is important. So tolerate nothing when it comes to anti-Semitic language, and tolerate nothing when it comes to Islamophobic language, and see each other's humanity. That's all I ask for. I just ask that we see each other as humans, because it's when you stop doing that, that these types of catastrophes and tragedies happen. And I'm really tired of it in my lifetime. I'm really tired of it. It's enough. We need to knock it off. I think the whole world needs to go into timeout again. I wish they'd lock us down, God damn it. All right. I'm going to do a patron shout out because we've got a bunch of new patrons. Well, you heard the music. It's time for some patron shout-outs. And I want to thank you all for hanging with me through these very turbulent times. And they will be more turbulent. And I am sorry. That is just how it's going to go. If I worried you yesterday, don't be. It can be a lot looking at all of the astrology charts, knowing all the different potentials and possibilities. And you have to remember, the future is never set in stone. The future is never set in stone. It's just not. And so I'm wading through potentials and possibilities. I look out years ahead. I know there's significant moments far out. I can look at things for 20 years, right? I try not to do that too much anymore. When I was younger, I did, with all of the hubris of a young person wanting knowledge. And I drove myself absolutely crazy looking at 2020, 2025. We're in this for a long haul because we're in massive systemic change. But you're here for a reason. Each one of you is here for a reason, period. You're here for a reason. And only you will discover what that is through your experience. And no, we're not all here to lead the charge, and probably not even going to get world peace, but we'll probably get closer than we've ever seen it by the end of all this. Because things have to change for our species to make it through. And we're going to be faced with things that make that a necessity. Because we're not real good at being proactive, okay? We're just not. I mean, none of this had to happen. None of this had to happen. We didn't need to get where we're at right now. We could have dealt with things. There could have been other outcomes. Mars and Scorpio doesn't need to be unremitted bloodletting, even opposite Jupiter. And I think that's probably where it's going to go. I'm hoping, maybe foolishly, that things don't spill out regionally. I think there's a very good chance it will. And that impacts a lot of my loved ones throughout the region. So it's complex. It's complex geopolitically. And it's complex, for the United States, because we're supporting and funding genocide, at the moment. That's exactly. And it's tough. And at the same time, we don't want to see genocide of other people either. So, we are literally in this moment collectively as a species between a rock and a hard place. So deep breaths. Exhale with me. And if you have family impacted by this, and I'm sure a lot of you do, whether you're Jewish or you have Israeli family or you're Palestinian and you have family, or you don't have family there anymore. I have plenty of Palestinian friends whose only living relatives are the ones they know in the country they live in, because their families have been utterly wiped off the planet. Okay, that's something to be really clear about really clear about. There's nothing that makes that okay or excusable. And if you've got family other places, because it looks like the Balkans are starting to get unsettled, that's never a good sign. Never a good sign. If you know your history, if you have family in Ukraine or in the border areas around it, God help you. If you're Armenian, my heart goes out to you. That's going to escalate too. Azerbaijan is probably going to be invading Armenia if they haven't already. That is likely this week as well, and it will get less news. It will get less news. So keep your eye on Armenia, and lift up Armenian voices, please. They have been subject to genocide throughout their history as well, and often go unseen. So I hear you, I see you. Getting those charts is next to impossible. I'll continue searching out and speaking to you. If you're in Guatemala, stay safe. If you're in Ecuador, stay safe. There's a lot of shit going down. If you're in South Korea, keep your heads up. There's instability going on there. If you're in Taiwan or anywhere near it, in the Straits of Taiwan, even in the Philippines, things are hotting up in that direction too. And we are on the flip side of 1939, so and when I say the flip side, I mean the astrology, because Pluto was in Cancer, it is now in Capricorn, and in 1939 when it moved into into Leo, that's where things heated up, and we're just about there. We're not quite. So we're in between 1938 and 1939 on the other side of it. So we're looking at unresolved conflict, right? Ugh. That's okay. All right. So let me do my shout outs. I love you guys, and I know it's hard, and I know it gets personal. Never think I want anyone's personal safety at risk. I don't. No one deserves to live in a war zone. Nobody. Okay? I mean, really. And I've been this way since I was 3 years old. Okay? Quick story before I give you your shout-outs. Quick story. In 1972, I was at my grandmother's house. It had to have been. It might have been an auntie's, but I doubt it. My grandma's house was where the news was on all the time. And Vietnam was playing on the news, and I saw there was an embedded reporter. I don't know who it was because I was 3, so I don't remember exactly the details. All I know is I saw bombs dropped on a village, and children were screaming and running, and one was on fire, and they tried to shield me from it. But I had nightmares for weeks and weeks. I'd wake up screaming, crying, and then asking my mom, why did they kill kids? Why did they hurt children? Why were there bombs? Why do people do war? It's bad. And my little Libra moon and my Cancer self at odds of being terrified it could happen to my family, and also wanting fairness. Like, why would you do that? Why would you hurt people? And finally, my poor mother, with her very, very smart, inquisitive child, and my mom did not like school. She didn't like to read. She's a doozer. She likes to be physically active and do physical work. And here she had this brainiac kid. And I was like, Mom. And she finally said, then write the president about it. And I had learned how to read and write. I learned how to read at 2.5, and at 3, I just finished learning how to write to get my damn library card. And it took forever. It was so hard. I remember how hard it was learning to write. The pencil was so big and my hand was so small, and it made the muscles in my hand hurt, and it was just very frustrating. And my mother named me a name with 6 letters in the first name and 6 letters in the last name, and I was like, why couldn't you just name me Bob? Right? So I remember all of that. And the letter I wrote President Nixon was pretty short and sweet. Dear Mr. President, which was a really rude word because it was very long. Don't drop bombs on children. War is bad. Love, Laurie Rivers. That was my whole protest note. I did not get a letter back. I did get letters back from the governor of Alaska when I protested baby seals a few years later, because he used to club the baby seals, and I found out about it, and it was just like horrific. And so I wrote a letter. I did get a letter from the governor thanking me for taking time to take action, and that I would grow up to do so. They thought that was cool. So other people sent me letters. I don't know. My mom has them in a box, probably. President Nixon did not. But what a Nixon thing to do, right? So, as we went to the post office, because my mother kind of made a big deal out of it. She supported it. She didn't know what to do with this kid, but she did that part right. For everything she didn't do right, and believe me, there was a lot, that's the part she did right. And she took me to the post office. And I know I was that young because the gumball machine was taller than me and just massive and very inviting. And I almost lost my attention to the gumball. It's like the strongest part of this memory is that gumball machine for some reason. And it was an old-fashioned post office with old-fashioned post office boxes. It was a cool place. And I was still asking my mother questions, tugging on her dress and saying, Mommy, why are they bombing people? I couldn't stop asking the question because I didn't get any good answers. So, Mommy, why? Mommy, why? Mommy, why? Mommy, why? Mommy, why? Mommy, why? And this old man, and I don't know if he was an old man or not, but he was old to me. I was 3. Everybody was old to me when I was 3. And he literally started yelling at me about being a commie and gooks, and I don't know what else he said because my mom flew in front of me like a bandy hen. She's 4'11" of fury. Okay, 4'11", Leo rising with Pluto on the ascendant, and a Gemini sun, and a Libra moon. Do not piss this woman off. Okay, just don't. Everybody like, your mom's so nice. And my brother just goes, you don't know, scary mommy. Do not piss this one off. And she went at him. And I don't even remember being scared of him. I just thought it was really dumb. He was yelling at me because I was a kid. And my mom had it. I was like, Mom's got it. And then we mailed the letter off. So if you think I'm new to all of this, think again. She's had some opinions since she was a child. And again, my main thing is I'm a humanitarian. I'm a humanist. I believe in humanity. I want sustainable solutions. I do believe there can be peace and prosperity. There is historical precedence for that. Okay. But it requires all of our participation. It requires all of us to be involved and not just wait on a strong leader. And that's what Pluto in Aquarius going forward is going to give us a chance to do. So why don't I celebrate you? Because without you, there is no me. I always announce our newest patrons. We've got Julie, Sandy, I think it's Tina, Althea, Jennifer, Rose, Anna, Nizzy, CS, Danny, Jennifer, Ashley, Lisa, Kate, Christy, Tula, Trudy, Tiffany, Firebreather 77, Lustful Octopus, Tanya, JC Skrilla, Aline, Ash, Becky, Vayera, Nellie, Susan, Irby, Hector, Ain, It's Me Kimmy, Lucid Evolution, Ms. Christie, Melissa, Leslie, Nicole, Alyssa, Brandy, Kristen, Aodell, and Bethany Nidrick. I know some people have left because they didn't like my opinions, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with people having a different opinion than me. What I really love is in the last 2 days, there were people who took offense at things I said. And that's why I kind of started this podcast with, I am not denying that children died in the Hamas attack. I am saying they were not beheaded. They might have been decapitated from a bullet or a bomb or a fire, but they were not beheaded as an intentional act. That's not what happened. Okay. That language was used to drum up Islamophobia in the United States. And it bothered me the minute I saw it, because language matters. You could have said 40 children slaughtered. That language would have been better than beheaded. Okay, it's about language. And messaging is everything. And we know from multiple wars in the last 20 years that war rhetoric is often used to drum up public support for involvement. Okay. Iraq had no weapons of mass destruction. They still had people who did bad things, right? I'm not saying Hamas did good things. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying you put other people's, as much as we're worried about anti-Semitism, and rightly so, I am worried about Islamophobia as well. I know what I've lived through with my children in this country and the ignorance that is here. And you have to remember, people can't tell. People can't tell visually. They'll go after Sikhs. They'll go after people from other countries. They'll go after people who are from India that aren't Muslim, all because they look different. All right? And the rhetoric has been sown time and time and time and time again, using prejudice. And that's what I'm against. Okay? Doesn't make me pro babies dying. And anybody who actually knows me knows that. And that's, I think, why we were able to have such good discussions. So thank you for knowing me so well. And if you're listening, the thing that was life-affirming for me was that we could talk as human beings and understand. I can understand the freaking fear of somebody wanting to hurt you. You know, and I'm like, well, great. Now I've come out as being part of the diaspora, which I normally, because of my kids having enough trouble, kind of toned down. And I wasn't raised culturally, right? But we are still part of the diaspora. And I came out with it because I think it's important that you understand. I have that history. It is very much in my family history. And I've faced more problems because of my kids being half Arab. You know, I suffered anti-Semitism as a kid. My kids faced Islamophobia. Let me tell you, I was like, there's no winning. And there is no winning. And maybe it's not about winning. Maybe we just need to see each other as humans. And that's where I'm standing. I'm standing as a humanitarian. I don't want anyone to fear for their children's safety. Pardon my Cancerianness, but I believe families should feel safe. I want them to be able to laugh and have arguments over stupid things instead of having to worry about surviving or worrying about the next bomb. And that goes for everybody. We can point out genocide without it taking away from our own history. And I think it's really important that we do, at least for me. You don't have to. It's up to you. We each have to be in our own consciousness and worry about our own security. All right. Thank you, patrons. I love you very much. And stay tuned. You'll be getting your stuff. And if you're not a patron, come on. Join us. Help us get to 1,000 members. What do you mean I'm rude? You've been spying on me?
Yeah, I've been watching your TikToks, and excuse the Pomeranian in the corner. He's gonna join the conversation.
I'll put a picture in the Patreon. He's the cutest.
Yeah, you're real nice. You're real nice with your confusing followers. So she doesn't understand when people announce themselves or kind of shout out to, like, say you say Leo Moon. Apparently, this is driving her nuts. I've had to also hear about it nonstop.
Not just Leo Moons. Anybody who says, like, Virgo Sun.
Yeah. It's really harmless.
I didn't know what it meant. I'm like, are they asking a question or what?
She genuinely thinks you're asking her a question, and it infuriates her when you do so because she just doesn't get it. So I've tried to explain that it's just a shout out. They're just saying, hey, this is me, or
okay.
Who knows?
So it's not a question?
It is not a question.
Well, thank God,
And
because first of all, questions should have a question mark.
Yes.
Second of all, more than 2 words would help. Because sometimes people spam it.
Yeah, it's just, they're just repping themselves and they're bored. And it's just how young people communicate, I guess. If you're old and doing that, I worry. That would be concerning. But, you know, it's not a big deal.
I can't tell how old people are.
Also, for those listening, please phrase your questions either grammatically correct for her, because I can't watch videos of my mom getting annoyed. It's like traumatic for me because it would be the same as me texting her and she's like, I don't know what you want. What are you saying to me?
But you ask good questions, don't you?
I do. But I feel bad because they don't have parents, obviously, who either correct their grammar or they just let their kids ask dumb questions. So
there are no dumb questions except the ones you don't ask unless they're phrased poorly.
Unless they're, again, so there's a lot of poorly phrased questions, and those are the ones that really get under her skin, which is hilarious, but also like, I have to listen to her at home. How about we just phrase the question fully, a full sentence and a period?
Well, I can do without, like, if it's just the words, I get it. On comments on a live stream, it's hard to comment on your phone on there. But
maybe finished thoughts.
Yes.
How about that? How about a finished thought? Don't just type.
Or the one that really gets me, and you've probably seen me go, is when people are like, Virgo Venus, thoughts?
Oh, that is bad.
Man. Do you know? I could write a book about each Venus sign.
So people just saying, like, Leo, Moon, Virgo,
or
Pisces.
That's a shout out.
That's just they're announcing themselves.
Okay.
I would hope.
Okay.
The thoughts is rude. Ask something specific about it. Don't just be like thoughts overall. That's a lot.
It is, because it's like saying speak French to me, and I'm like, alors, comment ça va?
Yeah.
Jute.
Great. Now she's speaking French at me. It's fun.
Baguette.
Uh-huh.
What are you supposed to say? You
True.
know, so yeah. Although patrons get to ask questions for the podcast.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah, they get to write those in the Googly form.
I hope you guys ask her really horrible questions.
No,
like,
they
make them
ask
really
me,
intense.
No, they make really good questions.
I hope they're the most complicated.
Sometimes they are, but that's for
questions.
patron-only podcasts.
Okay.
Patron-only is
if
where I
you
give all
guys
those.
want to bother her, start writing your rising sign with a question mark.
What do you mean?
Like Leo Moon question mark.
Oh, that's the moon. Yeah, no, don't do that.
Like that stuff. That stuff. If you really want to irk my mother, know that she'll be foaming afterwards, being like, this doesn't make any sense. What are they saying?
That's why the mods tell me not to read the comments.
Yeah. And it is funny watching you be
it?
so perturbed.
Is it?
So perturbed because I know why. Like, maybe you look normal to others, but I can tell when you read something and you're just like, why? Why are you here?
So why have you been watching my TikToks? You spying on me?
Yeah.
Did your friends get a hold of you again?
So yeah, my friend. So I didn't know my mom was on TikTok or viral or had any following until my best friends get a hold of me like, hey, we've been really enjoying your mom's TikToks. I'm like, excuse you? My mom's what? I'm not on TikTok. Why is my mom on TikTok? And then I go on and I see all of you. And then my friends are asking me for advice on anything astrology, which I don't know. That's for my mom.
I get asked that a lot. Like, is your daughter an astrologer?
Why? I can ask my mom.
Right. I mean, like, I don't do the stuff my mom does.
No.
You know.
We're grateful. Jeez.
I mean, you know the difference if it's good or crap.
Yeah. But I'm not, like, into it.
No.
I have to listen to you. You would just let me know when to not get in a car one day because of something.
Was I right?
I'm sure. I listen mostly. So it's not like I have to do anything.
Right.
You'll just let me know.
Right.
What am I... Like, I don't get it. Are anybody here following in their parents' footsteps exactly? So, should I go into international relations and then, find a banker and then marry them and then have 2 kids and then, I don't know, like I don't need to do everything my mom did.
No.
It's okay.
You get to be you. I
Yeah.
like who you are.
I'm fine. I don't
You
need
are
to do
perfect.
astrology. It's
No.
cool. I'll ask about it.
Yeah.
Then listen to everybody's opinions about it. And then them ask me like I know anything.
And just send them to me.
I do, but
I know.
it's annoying.
Right. We're working on stuff. So you're joining me because we're going to start a different podcast.
Yes.
Just the 2 of us together.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's not really astrological, but...
It's everything.
It's everything.
It's everything.
It's everything.
Yeah.
It's an everything bagel podcast.
Yeah.
That's my heart's desire to do things with you.
Yeah.
I know, it's annoying.
No, I'm the one trying to get you to go travel with me. What are you talking about?
I know.
My mom acts like I'm a kid who doesn't like hanging out with her, and this is what's weird. I don't do anything without her. This is what's weird. I am the most codependent child who likes hanging out with my mom or talking about my mom, and she acts like that's not enough. Am I not needy enough?
You're plenty needy. I've been trying to get you to do stuff on your own for a long time.
My phone messages, I rarely get a hold of my friends because I'm constantly only texting and calling my mom.
She's very
And
attached.
she acts, okay, you homeschooled me. So
It's true.
I said boarding school. You homeschooled me. So,
I was broke.
yeah, that's true.
Because trust me, when you're about 15, I would have
I know.
I would have sent you away.
I
so
know.
bad.
God.
Hey, we
God.
survived. We're here.
Somehow.
Woo! High five.
Somehow.
I don't know how we
We
did
were
it.
both very awful at those points.
God, it was horrible. Oh, God.
How old were you when I was 15?
Well, that would have been what year was that?
I don't even remember.
I hate doing math.
I know.
Get the calculator
Shit,
out.
we're both not math people.
Wait. You're 30.
You.
So that was 15 years ago.
Shut up.
I was 39.
Ew, see? 9
Yeah.
years from now, I could have a 15-year-old. How?
No, you couldn't have a 15-year-old. Well,
In 9 years?
If you would have had children, yes.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
If in 9 years I'd
Yeah.
have some spawn, that's
Yeah.
15.
At your age, I had 2 spawn.
What a mistake that was.
Right?
Oh my God.
I should have just stayed young and single. No, I'm kidding.
No, I'm not disagreeing. I think you should have, like...
No, I have no regrets.
Like, I'm not saying about regrets. I'm just saying, financially speaking, thinking about the fun you could have.
The financial stuff had other reasons for it. We'll save that for a different podcast.
Yeah.
But it's... So from now on, when people give a shout out,
Okay.
I just go, hey, right?
Be nice. Just be nice. I mean,
I hear her in my head I hear, be likable, your likability factor. I'm like, oh, I've never been good at that.
No, really. No, really. Wow. Yeah. It's really fun with other parents, like, of my friends want to meet up and, like, you should invite your mom. And I'm like, oh, well, what are they into? Like, what do they like, politics or no? And what kind of politics?
You mean now?
I mean, anytime.
Because when you were little, it was slim pickings.
I mean, anytime.
One of them accused me of being a witch for watching sheep's fleece on a lawn. If they only knew what I really did.
They did think their kid was possessed by the devil at one point, so that's where that's from.
That's why we had a problem with that.
A small conservative town.
Yeah.
It was cool times. Yeah, that is actually pretty funny.
And if they're Trumper thumpers, they can fuck all the way off. So that's all I'm
exactly.
saying.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting people out there. But, yeah, just be nice. Like, I mean, if they say something dumb, let them say something dumb. Like, just ignore it. Scroll.
So if
you have so many nice comments,
I have amazing comments.
So that's why.
Yeah.
When you're perturbed by something, it's so funny because it's just, you don't understand what they're trying to say. I don't either, but I mean, I just ignore it. So, but I'm pretty sure people are just like, hey, I exist, and...
So just say hey back.
Yeah, you can make it funny.
I do when they'll be like, any news for Aquarius? I'm like, you're all going to hell.
God, you freak people out.
I do. And then I say, no, I'm kidding.
Oh
and
my God.
But isn't that funny? Sometimes I tell people they're going to blow up.
You know what's fun is it gives me so much anxiety. Yeah. That's, yeah.
I know.
Exciting.
I know. It's
the
usually
reactions.
late after I'm done.
Oh, no, I'm
work.
aware. Oh, I'm aware, and you look so like you're so grumpy, and I can tell.
Yeah, I'm usually past
super grumpy.
I've worked all day, and then people are like, read me to filth, and I'm like, it's game on.
That might be fun.
I would like to do, I want to do
that.
more group readings. I've been trying to do Woke Astrology Live, but it hasn't really taken off, and I know people want me one-on-one, but I want to be able to, like, maybe we could do, like, I don't know. I prefer not to, like, read people to filth without them being able to, like, interplay, you know?
Yeah.
But...
Well, maybe they can, like, do a call-in or I mean, people do this where...
we could
leave a message. We can play the message and then read you to filth. How about that?
We could do that.
I don't know. Can they leave like voice DMs or something? How creepy would that be on TikTok? Holy crap.
Oh shit, that'd be weird.
Yeah. But no, I think people should just like call in. We should set up that. So they could call in, leave a message.
Leave a message. You can do that through the Spotify for podcasters.
Okay.
If you guys go to Spotify for podcasters, the link in my bio, I'll put the link here. It's a link I share out on my Patreon. You can leave a voice message. I don't know how we do that with the birth data, though. I don't want to announce that to people's birth data out there. We'll figure it out, folks. We'll figure out a way.
Well, why don't they just... Oh, they want to be really... Oh, God, your fans are sick. They want to really be read to filth through and through. It's not just like, I'm this. Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
That's real. You guys are nasty. That's a not...
I can see what your fantasies are that you're afraid to tell your mom and dad that you even had. You'd
That's
be
so
punished
like...
all the way, man.
Oh, my gosh.
I
no
know
words.
everybody who's had a reading with me goes, she can see what? Oh, yes, I can. And I'm really polite about not going into that.
It is creepy. It is creepy.
I was so right about those boyfriends.
Yeah.
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 You know what's fun? People now lie about when they were born.
Oh, yeah,
Because
that
of
one guy
that.
I went out with. I went out to a dinner
ew,
with this
yeah.
Persian dude, and he gave me false data.
Yeah.
And I looked him up because we met outside his building, right? And so then we went to dinner, and he told me he was a Scorpio. And
Yeah.
I was like, that's really weird. He does not present anything like a Scorpio dude. He doesn't have the vibe.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe he's not a Scorpio rising for sure. Maybe he's got a Scorpio moon, but he's certainly not a Scorpio sun or rising. So I went to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And I looked him up.
You know what?
Because I had his name and
Yeah.
his address, and I got all of his birth information. I'm in a bathroom stall running an astrology chart. And I came back, and I'm like, dude, you're a Virgo. Don't lie. You missed out on a good time tonight because I'm into that freaky shit.
Yeah. And how to tell people's age, too. Take them to Chinese. I made a guy do this, and he lied about his age by like 10, 20 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Botox is really cool in LA.
Right.
Yikes. And so I made him tell me what Chinese zodiac he was.
Oh.
And he answered honestly. But he wouldn't tell me his birth year. He lied about it.
Ah.
It was really funny. Because I shocked the hell out of him because I found out his birthday because of that. Because I just did a bunch of, Googling.
You gotta be a sleuth.
Yeah. So if a guy's lying to you, you feel like he's lying, or a girl, or a gay,
Or they.
or a they, take them to Chinese.
Ask Auntie Amy. Ask Auntie Amy. I'll put, I'm going to have Amy on the podcast. She's amazing. She's a good friend of mine. I just swapped out readings with her last week. It was so much fun, and she's the real deal. She's the real deal. She's a Botsy practitioner. Amazing. She's on TikTok as Ask Auntie Amy. Follow her, check her out, because she's awesome. But yeah, we hadn't even planned that. But I'm going to have her on the podcast at some point. I love her. I like to have my friends on.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, thank you for teaching me.
Yeah, just be nice. I think they're just shouting out. I
Okay.
think it's okay if somebody says random zodiac
Okay.
and they're just saying hi to each other at this point.
Okay.
It's like cave handprints,
Yeah.
Those little
Because my ability
symbols
to
and
mask,
flagging each other down.
my ability to mask after like dinner is gone.
Yeah.
So,
They're just...
but I do have some of the best people in the world. We have such a great comment area. It's not every commenter,
No.
I think sometimes people come with popcorn to see when I am going to get irritated, but
It has been pretty funny. I've caught the end of a few. I'm like, oh my God, well, this is why you're not answering my phone call? So, yeah.
you check TikTok first.
Actually, no. I check TikTok when you don't answer me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when you don't answer me, I'm assuming you're on there or, like, busy with somebody. It's very funny. So...
Yeah, but I appreciate it because you like the hell out of my videos.
Absolutely. I'm just sitting there hating... Actually,
Do you hit me
everyone...
right between the eyes?
No, but I make
Oh.
it do a funny loop around your glasses. But,
She's so good to her mama.
yeah, people like your videos. Please like her videos. What the heck are you doing if you're sitting there watching my mom? Like her videos.
Oh, you mean like the live streams?
Yeah, and comment. And
Yeah.
hang out.
I'm not going to be mean to everybody. I just get annoyed.
You're
when
pretty
it's
nice.
too-
I just can tell.
Okay.
She's
I think
she
I'm
comes to me
meaner.
frustrated, not understanding. She's
Yeah.
not being. I don't think you're mean on the lives.
Okay, really?
There's been a
I
there's
feel
been
a
a
little
few.
cranky
There's been a
sometimes.
few where you're pretty cranky,
Last
but
week was a very hard week for me personally.
that was a hard week for everyone.
Yeah, well, the my personal transits leading into
Yeah.
that week and in that week, that was a lot. And when, oh my God, I nearly lost it when that poor woman asked about her family in Gaza.
Oh, I know.
I had to end the live. I just couldn't do it. So, but in general, hello, Oda. That's a grand dog.
Yeah, they've been locked out of the room because they're very needy right now.
Because Grandma's here.
Yeah. We need air to breathe. So.
We'll let him in a second. But I needed this time with you today. Thank you. I'm refreshed and refueled like a good Cancerian.
For sure.
My baby. But yeah, thank you.
Yep. You're welcome.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Well, there we go, folks. My daughter has schooled me, and it's nice to know she didn't think I was all that mean on my live streams, because I have a Libra moon, I often feel like I am meaner than I am when I'm just being plain spoken. I know. I'm not good at Karening either. Sara can attest to that. I am not good at it. I will apologize till the day as long as I am very sorry to bother you. But this is wrong, and I need this fixed. Unless somebody's an asshat, and then I go, 0 to 60. But you guys have watched me do that. So, you know how I get. Anyway, I think we're good at...
So funny, going the speed limit. It's okay.
I do go the speed limit.
You hit the limit, and then you're like, this is as far as I go. Anyway, I'm done.
Oh, this is terrible. Oh, I got to go hug on a grand dog. She's got her feet under the door and she's crying. All right. Well, that was me and my daughter. I look forward to doing that podcast with her, and we do enjoy spending time with each other now that we both matured enough to be able to do it. I'm back outside with the crickets and the frogs. Maybe we'll hear an owl. One is usually right above me in the trees here, but maybe not for another week or two. Anyway, they're migratory. Well, kind of. They change neighborhoods. But anyway, let's talk about Mars in Scorpio and how you can use this energy. It's not all doom, death, and destruction, I promise. That's when we're looking at the political sphere and we're looking at the seismic and volcanic activity, which I'm not going to lie, I'm keeping my eye on that too. We might see some sizable rumblers as we head towards the end of the week. Having a slumber party over here with my daughter tonight, so we got out of hand. We got wild. We're about to hit the hay, but using the Mars in Scorpio energy, and if you're a patron, we'll do this in the part 2 for the patron only episode, so you'll get it on Patreon. Probably tomorrow, Monday or Tuesday. Okay, I'll get it out to you guys, where I go through the houses and explain it all. But if you really want to use the Mars and Scorpio energy to your advantage, one, just understand Mars and Scorpio has an immense amount of endurance, and it's very resourceful, great at research, measured and strategic response. You have to remember, Mars is the traditional ruler of Scorpio. Okay, so it's at home in Scorpio, and it's not the quick wham bam thank you ma'am energy of Aries, where it's just very bold action and it runs into the fray. This is strategic and calculated, and we use those words like they're bad or something, but there's nothing wrong with strategic, calculated action. Oh, there's the owl. Hello, friend. It's not in the tree above me, but it's down the hill a little bit. So it's strategic and calculated. It's making your moves carefully, thoughtfully, with precision. And there's a tenacity to it, okay? Both Scorpio and Cancer has this tenacity. Scorpio energy is a long game. This is a great time to work on long-term plans, things that might take a while. This is a great time to, if you want immediate gratification, this is probably not the energy for it. This is, plant a tree and it's going to take, 5-6 years before you see any fruit, if you plant a seedling. So this is a good time to work on projects that need rehabilitation or refurbishing. If you're into antiques, renovations, what else? Reupholstering, refinishing, remodeling. Investing. Again, you're looking at a long-term strategy. And of course, if you want to get into the woo-woo stuff, there's never a better time. And, there's a lot of witch talk out there. And I'm going to say most of the rules around the internet, I'm not talking about closed practices, but I'm talking about what you hear on TikTok videos and on YouTube and what have you. 90% of those rules were created in the 19th or 20th century. They're not long-standing rules. You can do magic at any time if you know what you're doing. And you're manifesting every single day. So that's interesting. But, there's some interesting stuff that you can do with this Mars and Scorpio energy, and it is very good for doing, the mambo, the horizontal mambo for magic. You know what I'm talking about. I know kids are listening, although, again, I should have put a warning because of talking about gossip, but this was a grown-up episode again, and I hope we've taken you through your commute. I hope I've not scared the daylights out of you, and I hope I really haven't offended anyone. I'm trying to show the humanity here. In times of conflict, it is important to stand up for what is right, but it is also important to see people as people. And yes, even Trumper thumpers are people, and they might have reasons for their fears or worries or frustrations. Although, I know it's hard, but they're still people. Even bad people. And I'm not saying they're all bad people. I'm just saying even bad people might have a backstory. Of course, they always had a choice. We always have a choice. All those times people say, we didn't have a choice. You always have a choice. I have chosen many times not to do horrendous things, what other people might view as horrendous, where I chose not to take a pound of flesh, and I didn't do it to be a nice person or a good person or a virtuous person. I weighed my options and I weighed the consequences. Sometimes that's as good as it got. And sometimes it was, I knew by taking that kind of action, I was going to do irreparable harm to myself. And I think, when we look at people who are committing violence, at the level of the violence we're seeing, I don't care what side at that point, they're doing some pretty irreparable damage to themselves. And when it comes to being an occupied person, that comes usually from desperation and or rage, because you've lost just about everything. You don't take that kind of action if you feel there's a hopeful solution. It's usually not coming out of nowhere. And likewise, on the other side, you very much feel like your survival matters on that kind of action. And that's why you hear the things people are saying when they say them. It's not right, but those are the reasons. A really great resource to listen to on these things is Dr. Gabor Mate. And he is a wonderful expert and psychologist who brings it down to being human. And I think we could all use that about now. And does this resolve? Yes, it does. And there is hope. And I think we look at a better structure by 2030 to the world we have, certainly by 2040. And I know that seems like a really long time from now. I mean, after all, my daughter and I were just celebrating that only 15 years ago, we were at each other's throats. People were taking bets on who was going to kill who. And 15 years later, we have resolved through a lot of hard work. That wasn't just like bippity-boppity-boo. Here we are, good friends and close. We have a hard-won, honest relationship. And that takes effort on both sides. And sometimes you get it and sometimes you don't. So, but the world resolves. It will. I promise. We do not annihilate each other. And if you have small children, I understand your concerns. But they too were born for these times. And with that, I'm going to leave you. I'll answer questions on the Patreon-only podcast. And I will talk to you again next week. And good luck surfing the cosmic tide this week.